Hello, I'm your host, Jim McLean. Welcome back to another episode of More Than Pixels on a Screen, a podcast brought to you by the Banderflex Movie Review website. As always, we will be talking about the film in spoilerific detail, so if you haven't seen it, we might recommend sitting this one out, unless you're a sociopath and you just don't care. We're going to be carrying on our comedy series. We've teamed up with The Sixth Sense, so once again, I'm joined by Bill Bullshit, the Grumpy Gamer, all filler, no killer, Taylor. Hello to you, Bill.
How's it going, Jimbo?
Do you like the fact that I had to actually think about all the things that I think it's eventually going to become the stage where this podcast, when we have you on, is just us saying all the little things that we've added to your name.
They should always be on the tip of your tongue, Jim, just like the rest of me.
Oh, Bill, you've made me feel all strange and flustered. Yes, we have you back on. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about The Waterboy as Bill slurps his coffee there. Such a professional, such an audio professional. Let me just hang on a minute here. Just go.
Hold on, I'm scratching myself as well.
Yeah, you know, it's...
I'll give an audio
That's
description.
a bit like Adam Neeson a couple of weeks ago when he was answering my question by shaking his head. It's like, it's an audio medium. You have to give me more. Bill fills that void. So we're going to be carrying on our retrospective of comedy movies, and we've talked about The Waterboy. This week, we're going to be talking about Hot Rod. You picked this title. I picked The Waterboy. And then I guess in a couple of weeks' time, we'll either have yourself back on or another member of The Sixth Sense to talk about.
They're all losers. You only need me.
That's true.
You only need me.
It's like Highlander. There can be only one. But unfortunately, there's four of you.
I'm the John Lennon of the group.
All right. But you're alive.
I don't know what that means. I'll pick some.
You can be the Paul McCartney of the group. Or Ringo. I think everybody, though, secretly wants to be George Harrison and the Beatles.
Good old George. Aye. Good old George.
But that's not what we're here to talk about.
We're not here to talk about the Beatles.
We're not a musical podcast. We're going off tangents pretty quickly. I think it just says more about me and the control I have over this show and my own mental thoughts, my own mental well-being. Yes, we're going to be talking about Hot Rod from 2001 starring Andy Samberg. I think before we get into discussing the film, we'll play a clip.
So I thought it'd be fun if we all went around and said our name and a little something about ourselves. I'll start. My name is Rod, and I like to party. All right, Dave, you're up.
Hi, my name is Dave, and I like to party.
No, Dave, I just said that I party, so maybe do something different for me.
My name is Dave, and I am the stuntman.
You know what? Let's move on. Rico, you're up.
Hello, I'm Rico, and I like to party.
Yeah, Rico, what did I just say to Dave?
Who?
Dave.
I like to party. I'm Rod.
No, you're Kevin.
Right. Kevin. I party.
No, you don't. Okay, nobody parties but me.
Yes.
So that's a clip of Hot Rod. Cool beans, Bill. Cool beans.
Yep, that's definitely in the film.
And it wasn't going to be in the film. The director didn't think it worked. They kept it in when they previewed it, and it was one of the bits that worked really well. So they actually went back and added more to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's believe it or not, this film is probably it's definitely in my top 3 comedies. I own it.
What else is in there? What else is in there?
I'm not going to say because it constantly changes, but this one stays in.
What's in right now as we record right now?
Probably
Schindler's List.
Coming to America on Airplane.
Schindler's List.
Schindler's List, yeah. Jojo Rabbit. To be or not to be. Why are they all Nazi themed, Bill? I don't know. Jim is the answer. No.
I did not see that.
I did not see that coming.
And those level of jokes is why I was never asked to be in The Sixth Sense.
But I
keep applying to be the 5th members, like the George Best.
We have a list of people for whenever we eventually get cancelled of who will replace us.
Yeah, I'm never going to be on that list. It's like going to be like Doctor Who, just regenerate.
Just regenerate. Where were we? Oh, yes, Hot Rod.
Hot Rod.
I own this film on so many different mediums. I own it on DVD, digital download, Blu-ray, and HD DVD.
Look at you, Billy Big Bucks.
Yep. And there's one of the features, I think it's on the Blu-ray, where like there's an extended version of that cool bean scene.
Okay.
It goes on for like 2 minutes or something. It's amazing. I love the film. Absolutely love the film.
So yes, we've kind of jumped in at the cool beans, but it's kind of become its own thing. It's a bit like when we talked last month about Megan and the whole kind of dance stuff in that film that became a TikTok meme. It kind of developed into its own thing. So I think anybody know, whether you've seen Hot Rod or not, you'll probably know, or I'd imagine people will know of like 2001, the cool beans thing. So yeah, I think we should do some sense of setting up the plot. From 2001, we have self-proclaimed stuntman Rod Kimble.
Yep.
He wants to earn £50,000 to help his dad have a stepfather. That's a key thing. His stepfather have a heart transplant, basically so he can fight him.
Yeah, he wants to earn the respect of his stepfather.
And the only way he can do that is by fighting him.
By fighting him and beating him.
Yeah.
Which is so messed up.
And
but it's hilarious.
let me just throw in that his father is played by Ian McShane.
Such great casting, I have to say. The parents are great casting. It's Sissy Spacek and Ian McShane. Brilliant turn from Ian McShane. He never, what has he said? Never sneak up on a man who's been in a chemical fire. It's just, there's so many great lines in the film. Yeah, Ian McShane. Brilliant.
Ian McShane, Sissy Spacek. And I know the last time we were talking about The Waterboy, Oscar-winning actress, once again, having a button. Now, Sissy Spacek, she's pretty much kind of playing it straight.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes.
It's not like Kathy Bates in The Waterboy, where she's just been told, right, just go for it at 11. That's Ian McShane's role in this. I mean, he has limited screen time in the film. I mean, he's there. I mean, he's given, because he's, for most of the film, he's waiting for the transplant, so he's on.
You know, he's
on
lying
sofa.
down. And the weird thing, the weird thing I noticed doing a rewatch, he keeps changing position from like being left on the sofa to right on the sofa, left on the sofa, right on the sofa, throughout his illness, as it were. Which, I don't know if it's continuity or deliberate or whatever, but it's he definitely changes position.
That just exists just for someone to point it out.
Like me, and I've just done it.
You can drop an email to IMDb, continuity errors.
Well, see, from filmmaking point of view, him laying on the left suits some of the scenes better from talking to Rod and talking to family and stuff. Mm-hmm. But then when he's laying on the right, it lends itself better from looking up and looking out the window towards the end of the film and stuff. So, it's kind of, there you go, I'm boring people already. There we go.
There's the filmmaker in you coming out, Bill.
It is. I try to keep him down.
Hopefully not like the last time. You'll not try to bring us down again.
No,
I did not see that coming that time when you did that on the Waterboy
We've
podcast.
Had complaints.
Yeah. That one listener complained.
But
how can you talk about mental health and the Waterboy in the same sense?
I think Hot Rod's slightly different, though. It's not a film that is looking to mock people or, it's not taking the piss out of people in general. It's not a mocking kind of film.
No,
for me. It's more wholesome comedy.
Go back to previous pod.
Yeah.
Listen to me talking about how I like comedy with heart. I don't know where you come, because you've got a comedy group. You're called The Sixth Sense. Yeah. So you find humor in dark places.
Yeah, but we do silly shit too.
Like,
it's not just jokes about bad stuff and things that happen.
But maybe that's more about me. I don't know. I come back to it's the film. It's my go-to for films I don't like that are huge box office successes. The Hangover. And I guess the last time we had you on, I didn't ask you. I mean, are you a fan of the Hangover films?
I like them to a point. I like them to a point. I think there's some funny moments in them, but they are essentially. I know what you mean about the comedy. It is sort of like, some of the stuff is a lot of it's very risque and stuff. And
well, it's stuff like you look at like The Hangover Part 2 particularly. Like
Part 2, I mean, is
a nasty film. Part 2 is a nasty film, but you've got like, it takes a kind of massive stumble and kind of leans into kind of transphobia. There's certain sequences and you're like, you wouldn't get that now.
No.
I mean, Hangover Part 2, the Hangover films, they're not that long. I don't know. I do have a computer in front of me. I could, if I could be bothered, go into. Let's do it. We did this in the previous pod. Hey, Siri, when was The Hangover released?
The Hangover was released on the 12th of June 2009.
2009. Okay, so I thought it was
14 years ago.
14 years. I thought it was closer to the release of this, because this is 2001.
It is closer to the release of this. You have to bring it to you.
No, what I mean is,
do your maths, Jim. Do your maths.
If you'd let me explain, Bill, I thought the Hangover was released in around kind of the same time period as Hot Rod.
Yeah,
that's what I meant. I probably, in true Jim way, I explained it very well.
It is if you're talking about
8 years,
planet scales.
Yes, 8 years. There's 8 years difference between this. So this is. I remember coming to Hot Rod. I don't know if it was theatrically released here.
It was Sky. I found it.
It was on DVD, and it was either marketed.
You're going to have to explain to the listeners what DVD was, mate.
They're not that old. There's one old listener who knows. Discs.
You know CEX, right? You know when you go into CEX, there's all those pictures of actors and actresses?
Yeah.
Those are on a format known as DVD.
You know all that stuff you clear out from your mum and dad's that you go, you haven't watched this in a week. I'm just going to go back and get 20p for this to get myself something new for the PlayStation.
You used to watch these on 2 versions of the previous PlayStation?
Yes. Not anymore. Not when you all go digital downloads.
Everybody goes digital now. It's ridiculous.
Yes. So I remember, don't know why it's so clear, Asda and Oma. And Asda and Oma, if you're listening, if you want to send some free stuff, greatly obliged. But walking in, and it was marketed on the DVD. I think it's either because Will Ferrell is a producer on this.
Yes,
I don't know if it's just Will Ferrell or if it was from the producers of Anchorman, or it was Will Ferrell Presents. I can't remember which of the two it was marketed, because I'm saying I have a crystal clear memory, and it's as clear as fog, right? But that's how I picked it up. I didn't know who Andy Samberg was. I know he's been involved with Saturday Night Live.
I think he was on Saturday Night Live around that time, I think.
And
a couple of them, I mean, Bill Hader was on Saturday Night Live as well.
When you look through the cast of this, it's a lot of, you've got the likes of great actors like Ian McShane, Sissy Spacek. You've got Andy Samberg, up and coming, Isla Fisher?
Isla Fisher.
Isla Fisher, that's what I always get worried about. Yeah. You've got the likes of her, and then you've got other actors, Bill Hader, as you've mentioned, Danny McBride.
Jorma Tacombe as well.
Yeah, I just want to ask you, Bill, I know you've got coffee. Have you drank your green tea today? Are you mellow?
That's a brilliant line. I've been drinking green tea all goddamn week. I go to church on Sunday. You're bringing the devil at me? Danny McBride as Rico in this film is hilarious. Such a really good role. And this is around the time when I suppose he was coming to the forefront in comedy as well.
Before he started to rewrite Halloween movies.
Yeah, before he, what's fair.
And he did an Alien film as well.
Alien Covenant. He's been doing some serious stuff as well. But yeah, I mean, he sort of came to the forefront of me, and I've been a really big fan of his ever since this film. Bill Hader as well. I mean, Bill Hader's one of he seems to be really, really, especially for Saturday Night Live anyway, his stuff on Saturday Night Live is hilarious. And see when he corpses and laughs, it just makes scenes even funnier. Mm-hmm. It's not like Fallon. Fuck you, Fallon. It's not like Fallon at all, who ruins sketches with his laughing. Bill Hader makes him much, much funnier. But yeah, I mean, there's Andy Samberg, Jorma Tacombe, who plays his brother, Kevin, in it.
Chris Parnell's there as well.
Chris Parnell's there as well, and like
Will
a bit
Arnett.
part. Will Arnett's in there as well as the boyfriend. But the director, Akiva Schaffer, I mean, the three of them, Andy, Akiva, and Jorma,
I love the way you're on names. You're their
first name term.
Yeah.
They're close personal friends. They were the comedy group, The Lonely Island. And so you might know them from the song Dick in the Box and a few other ones as well. The one they do with Michael Bolton is hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious. So, I mean, these guys, they've got comedy chops. Pretty much everybody that's there has comedy chops.
Yeah.
Apart from Sissy Spacek, who's there for the she's there for the
She's there
serious
as the nurturing
Even Ian
mum.
McShane, I mean, Lovejoy was a bit comedic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's got a great cast. It's a lot of fun.
It's wholesome
Do you
comedy.
know what I love about this? And I didn't mention this when we talked about The Waterboy. It's an hour and a half.
Mhm.
Actually, it's like an hour and 26 minutes.
Yes.
Gone are the days. Like now, I think a lot of comedies now, I think if you're stretching beyond the 90-minute mark, you need to either be brilliant or you're just dragging the arse.
Yeah, I
out of it.
totally agree. An hour and a half is, 80 to 90 minutes, probably perfect. And this film just fits right into that bracket.
Yeah. But there's loads, like when you sit and think about Hot Rod, there's loads you can kind of go in, and you could probably psychoanalyze as well, and other comparisons to other movies you could make. Like the fact that we have Rod, Andy Samberg's character, he wants to be this great stuntman.
Stuntman, just like his dead father.
Just like his dad, who died almost instantly 2
days later.
I love it. I don't know how he kept a straight face when it's like his face was pushed inside.
His teeth ground to dust. And he died. He died instantly.
2 days.
The next day in hospital. It's just, there's so many. Oh.
But he wants to be this great stuntman, but he's not actually. Well, he is brave, but he's not really that brave. It's like, what's the safety word for when they're going down the road? It's like
whiskey. Whiskey!
It's from the moment he lets go. Like the safety word did not. It's like The Simpsons. Yeah. The goggles did not. The safety word did nothing.
But it's what I like about the film is, and I love it. I mean, Tropic Thunder. Again, Danny McBride's in that, and Tropic Thunder does it really well as well. In that you get to know the characters pretty much from the opening scenes. Mm. And from this, it's him doing his wee jump over the ice cream van.
Yeah.
And, to me, it's just fucking hilarious. He rides this wee tiny scooter bike that has pedals, so he has to pedal the bike. And he goes up, you've got his gang sitting outside. You've got Kevin with the camera, you've got Dave who builds the ramps, and then you've got Rico that does the bike and all that sort of stuff. And he just takes off up the ramp. He just smacks straight smack right into the other ramp, lands in a heap of shit, and just pukes his ring out. I mean, and it just tells you everything you need to know from the character.
Yeah,
and I love when films do that. It's
quite Wayne's World-esque in that opening sense.
It is, yeah.
When you think of when you first kind of see that the pan. It's only because I rewatched Wayne's World not so long ago. It was on Sky one night, and I said I haven't watched this in years. And it's like the pan through the house as they're recording the show, and it's like you've got Wayne, you've got Gareth, you've got all the ones kind of behind the scenes. It's not so everybody. It shows you as much as not everything about them, but as much as you need to know for the duration of this movie.
It tells you what you need to know for the.
You don't need to know their entire life story at that point. And yes, it does. With Rod, it does fill out their certain character. The fact that he has this kind of, he wants to honor his dad by becoming a great stuntman, and then there's revelations about his dad and who he really was, and it's a film. What I love about it is the fact it's unashamedly silly, and it allows itself, it indulges itself, and sometimes when a filmmaker and actors can be indulged, it sometimes doesn't work out because you see, right? It's like, well, you probably thought that was comedic gold, but to me, it's like a chuckle at best.
Yeah.
Like the Cool Beans stuff that we've already mentioned, that was all from the cast. That was there in the set. The director didn't actually think it was going to work, and then it's only when they actually screened it, it's like, okay, that works. We'll go back and we'll maybe add more into it. Mm-hmm. But it's that sense of there's a great scene, and I'd actually forgotten about it until I watched it. So you've got, isn't it The Voice? The tune,
John Farnham?
Yeah, The Voice playing along, and they're going off to do the stunt, and it starts off...
It's really uplifting because it's like, it starts off and it's Rod walking down the street on his own, and then the rest of the gang join him slow. It's all in slow-mo while the music's playing. Well, actually, it starts before that. It starts with him doing Tai Chi and getting oiled up by a fisherman, which is, again, it's really fucking surreal, but it works. And you get to see all the players and everything. And he's walking down the street, his team join him. And like nodding, doing the slow nod to everybody who's watching them walk down the street. And then they turn the corner.
Cliche. It's a
movie cliche, but they turn the corner into the main street where all the shops are. And there's a whole crowd of people
just
gathering behind them, and they're. I think it's brilliant. Like they're looking around, going, "Where the fuck do all these people come from?" So they're walking down the street, and again, you've got people standing there and singing the words to the song, and it's really uplifting, and it's really. It's a beautiful moment at slow-mo, and it just takes one person, one idiot with a trash can, runs through the crowd in slow-mo and throws a fucking dustbin through the window of a shop, and then looting begins, and the music stops, and it's just fire brigade, and then there's a bunch of pipers coming in to do the last bit of the song, and cars go on fire, there's petrol bombs, there's rioting, the police are beating the shit out of people. A woman in a wheelchair gets turfed out of her wheelchair and given a kicking, and they have to run away from the scene. I mean, it's amazing.
Joe, it reminds me, I'm watching it last night for this pod, reminds me of Anchorman. And that
the gang fights.
Yes, and it's like, boy, that escalated quickly.
Yeah.
That sense. But it's also that sense that it's not afraid the filmmaker's not afraid to say, right, we know it's a movie, we know it's a film, we can go off and we can be silly and we can do this, and it's having the courage to do it, and the courage maybe isn't the right way to do it, but that conviction to say, right, okay, let's go off and do this. If people find it funny, they'll find it funny. Yeah. But you can imagine having discussions with producers, maybe not when you've got like Will Ferrell as your producer in there, but that sense of what was the best way to put it? That sense of speaking to your producers, like, we want to do this scene where it starts off, it's going to be really positive, and it's going to escalate into
it's going to escalate into a street fight.
And you can see a producer kind of going, well, do we really need this? Could we do that? Could we cut that? Because you mentioned all the things there, like pipe bands, but that's going to be expensive. But yeah, it's good. And I'm actually, I very quickly jumped on IMDb, and much to my surprise, this was pre-Anchorman. So Anchorman was 2004.
Right, okay. So this might have inspired Anchorman then? I don't
know. I don't know if it inspired or not, but I think definitely, I still hold by that memory. I don't know whether, I definitely don't think it got a theatrical release here. I don't remember seeing it.
I think you're probably right.
I think maybe it got released on DVD post the success of Anchorman, the fact that Will Ferrell's on board as a producer. I don't know. I'm just looking at that. But it's that sense of, there's a very similar line of comedy in the fact that even like the Cool Beans stuff, the fact that it's just kind of, you've got the way that it's been edited together. They're just fucking about in the editing room with the Cool Beans stuff. And it makes no sense, because it's like, they start it, they do it, and it's cool.
It gets a beat, and it has music later on,
and then they just go out of it. It's like they go in and out.
It's not mentioned again.
Yeah, and there's no reference to it as well.
Yeah,
but I love that sense of fun from behind the scenes on this film, and that heart. But there's also moments, probably in a sense, something like The Disaster Artist or The Room, I suppose, is a comparative piece where they think one of the big money makers, we haven't even mentioned the kids' parties.
Oh, the kids' parties are hilarious.
We haven't even mentioned the kids' parties, but one of the things they say, right, we're going to make a film about Rod and all the stunts that he's done. And they go and show it, and it's that moment of realization that people are laughing
at him.
Yeah. And I've got to wonder, I don't necessarily think that's the case, but it's when you watch like The Disaster Artist, that sense of like people laughing not with you, but at you, and thinking you're a fool for everything that you want to do. And then just the way that he runs it. Well, he actually runs up to the producers, up into the...
He goes up and wrecks the projector.
Up to the projector. Window. But, there's little things with the film that I love. That sense of moments like that you've got to wonder, maybe would they be a reference point later on? Probably doubt it very much so. But that scene does remind me of, particularly in The Disaster Artist, when they all sit down to watch The Room at the big premiere screening, and people start to laugh at rather than with, or not when they're supposed to laugh, I suppose. Yeah. But and the kids' parties, Bill.
The kids' parties are hilarious, man. Just the different levels of, I think it actually starts. it starts bad with him on fire, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Where he's like stomping through this kid's party, wrecking the place on fire, and then they put him out. And then there's the there's the one where they dunk him, they lock him in a metal like tank thing and put him in the swimming pool and pull him out, and they can't find the key. And Rico, of all people, just pulls out a gun and blows the lock off.
And then it's just like the scene afterwards where the mum's giving them the money.
Writing the check.
Get the fuck off my gun.
It's brilliant. And then there's the retirement party or something where they fucking end up blowing up the thing. And again, it's Danny McBride with explosives a la fucking Tropic Thunder. It's pretty much the same joke of him hitting the button early.
Yeah.
And it's pre-Tropic Thunder. And, you know, it just blows Rod up and stuff. It's just beautiful.
I love the joke about it's like, you're the worst stuntman ever. What? You're the worst stuntman. What? It's like, no, I can hear you. I'm only messing with you. Thanks very much.
But we haven't covered the Footloose moment. The Footloose moment is so fucking funny.
Just gotta go and think.
I gotta go to my thinking place or my happy place or something. And it's just him doing the Footloose stuff in the forest with the bottle of booze, cigarette, dancing to the music, and then he trips.
Apologies, listeners, as Bill just dies.
I'm dying. It's just the trip that never ends. He just ends up falling down a mountain for like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious. And then it's just, that's where he gets the idea for the one big jump. Yeah. But it's that whole, you know, it's a film that...
Can we also talk, just because you mentioned the big jump, like, I don't want to spoil it too much that if people haven't seen the film, but the one thing you're meant to do when you're jumping, hold on
to the bike,
and it's the jump, and then it's just perfectly shot in that sense, like going, is he actually gonna make? Is he gonna make? He might make.
He might actually do it.
And then it's kind of the cut and the look round and the thumbs up to the friends, and then it's like the pull back of the camera and the sudden realization that the bike's here and he's there.
It's hilarious.
There's times for me, and this is comedy gold for me, where there's times in Hot Rod where it's up with Airplane.
Oh, definitely.
In that sense of it understands the power of the visual gag.
Yeah.
And it understands that visually you can do a gag with very little setup, and that's a perfect example for me, where you just say, right, it's like you've got the jump, you've got everything going up, and it's like, okay, is he gonna make it? And you're like, it's a Rocky rule, it's not about whether he does the jump or not, it's the taking part. And then it just pans back and you're just like, oh,
he's fucked.
And you've got isn't it Chris Parnell, he's the commentator, and he's like, I hope none of his friends said anything bad today because it looks like he's dead.
I know, because his ma sitting, everybody's listening on the AM radio of all things.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, he's definitely dead. He's motionless. All his friends are running to him. He's definitely dead.
Now, I feel bad, Bill. I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm hoping I'm not going to get it wrong. One lingering question from watching Hot Rod. Who do you think would win a fight between a taco and is it taco and a grilled cheese sandwich?
Grilled cheese sandwich. Well, the grilled cheese would win it, but the taco would win it if it was prison rules.
Can I? Because a couple of weeks ago we had Adam Neeson talking about whether he'd rather fight, whether he would fight. What was it? Let me get this in my head right. Whether we would fight 100 Arnie-sized Chuckies or one Chucky-sized Arnie, and Adam gave a lot of thought and reasoning behind it, and he explained his rules as to why he made his decision. So would you want to indulge our listeners a little bit in your reasoning behind why you think the taco would win if it's prison rules?
No,
he just said it.
You can't, because it's, according to the film, it's pretty racist, but correct.
Do you know what I love? It's because that line is so throwaway. Because he says that to... he
says it to Ida Fisher's character.
Yes, he said Denise. He says Denise's character. And then it's never really referenced. It's not like a reoccurring joke throughout the film. And then there's after the jump, there's as always, he's all in white. He's having that moment.
He's in heaven.
He's having that moment, and it just cuts to taco and grilled cheese sandwich, and they start to fight. And you're like, it's silly. And that's why this film will always be in my good books, Bill.
Yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of it. I think there's a lot of surreal moments and there's a lot of irreverent moments, but it's the silliness all the way through. There was a lot of stuff that I would sort of, I would say are Simpsons moments.
Mm.
And the best one for me is after the riot where they're on the hill and they're getting their breath back and they're saying, I can't believe that just happened. It's like, yeah, I know, it was really uplifting. And then it cuts to Rico and Rico's just standing there with a fucking monitor. And it's like, yeah, we all just had to make our choices and get out of there. And they're all looking at Rico with the monitor going, you've just stole that monitor. But it's not mentioned. He just appears with the monitor. Brilliant. It's like classic Simpsons moment. But yeah, there's I just love the film. Just so much.
Where do you put it? I mean, are you a big Andy Samberg fan? Because we talked about Adam Sandler in the previous pod, and I talked about how kind of much I loved the early Sandler films. And then I went back and didn't love them as much, but The Waterboy still has a special place for me. Isn't it That's My Boy? Is the one
That's My Boy's the Sandler film where he's the son,
and I never liked it, and it's
I don't mind it.
I
It's
never
all
liked
right.
it, and it's probably
James Caan's in it.
Yeah, he is, but I never like. It's like there's a scene where like he's banging the teacher, and it's going it's going down to basically paedophilia, and it's
it is, yeah.
It's an ill-judged gag,
Yeah.
and
it's Susan Sarandon that
Yes.
turns out to be later on, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I know I'm not making light of it. It's not that it's a small hill, but it was a thing in the film. I just I never got over, and I never enjoyed it for that fact, and it tainted my not that I had a relationship, Andy, if you're listening, but it tainted my kind of view of Andy Samberg in that sense, like, that's the kind of stuff he wants to do. And then it's the kind of thing we haven't mentioned. We've got this far talking about Andy Samberg, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I absolutely love Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
And I remember it was one of those ones where a few friends had said, oh, you should watch it. It's funny. It'll be my type of humor because it's got heart, but it's silly and it's unashamedly silly at times. And a bit like everything, like Parks and Rec and The American Office, you judge it by the first maybe series and a bit, and you go, it's all right. I don't really get it. But then, like all those kind of sitcoms, you become emotionally engaged with everybody. And you'd then suddenly go, I absolutely love my lovely wife and I will sit and watch. In the same way now that we're going through like a love relationship with Bob's Burgers, that we will now sit and watch that quite happily on replay as kind of cinematic chicken soup for the soul.
Yeah.
It's something you put on. You say, like, I've had a shitty day or anything. I'll throw on a couple episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I know I'll laugh. Like Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Like that sequence you're talking about with the rioting scene. The only thing I would say for me that is on a par with that will always, always, always make me laugh. And I'm not being flippant about this. When my dad passed away 2 years ago, and around that time, and I know, again, Bill, you can talk as much as you want. I mean, I know you've suffered loss as well in the last kind of year and a bit as well. Yeah. But I remember around the time Dad passed, I said, I just want something to kind of not take the pain away, that's being OTT, but just make me laugh. And the one thing I know I could have the worst day in this world, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the episode where Charlie pretends to be the businessman and he eats the blood capsules, and it's just the line. It's like kind of offer you an egg in this tray. If you know, I'm not going to spoil it. If you've seen that episode, you'll know what I'm talking about. It always, always, always makes me laugh. It's like, remember the way they did years ago, not you and I, but they did experiments on kind of mice and kind of like they were able to wire into their brain. It's like to get the hit. To see whether they would get the hit. Each time they would get the hit, it's like, that is the closest I'm ever got. Every time I see that scene, it's like just the vomiting of blood. It's like, then just the genius that is Danny DeVito kind of offer you an egg and is trying to, makes me laugh. And it's what I needed at that time. That scene in Hot Rod probably is up there for me. I'm just like, no matter how many times, there'll probably be something else I'll pick up or haven't seen, because you've got so many characters on screen, extras and stuff. There'll be something I haven't picked up on. But I kind of guessed, I made that point, but in doing so, I kind of forgot where I was. But yes, that Andy Samberg, through watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I now have a love for him.
Mm-hmm.
Genuinely do love, and there's so many, like I can never remember its full title. Don't Stop, Never Stop, the mockumentary.
Don't Stop, Never Stop Stopping or something. The pop star
Yes.
one. I've never watched that.
Oh, Bill, it's genius.
I've never watched it.
It is a very, very funny film. But where do you rank Andy Sam? And I will also throw Palm Springs, if you haven't seen Palm Springs.
Oh, Palm Springs, yes.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. I love that sort of film. I love that time loopy sort of stuff.
I think Palm Springs is it's not only is it funny.
It's funny but clever as well, I think.
And I think, well, I'm going to put it out there. No, I'm gonna say this, and I don't think it is. It doesn't have Christopher Walken. It's not Christopher Walken.
No, it's J.K. Simmons, isn't it?
That's J.K. Simmons. Just I wanted to cue you up for it. You know. It's not. Scrap that. No, it's not. You're right. It's completely right. It's J.K. Simmons. But yes, Palm Springs. I absolutely love it.
Love it.
Because it's a comedy that works on so many levels.
Yeah, it is.
And I know, I mean, as much as I'm saying I love silly, straightforward, slapstick comedy and comedy with a heart, I do like comedy that works on different levels, but not in a kind of knowing kind of, oh, isn't this clever? Isn't it so wonderfully clever is what we're doing now.
Well, most comedy, I would like to think, is clever on some level, because it takes a lot.
Do you
to make
really
people
think, like,
laugh.
just because to talk about the film we talked about the last time you were on with The Waterboy, I don't think at any point Adam Sandler was kind of going like, this is so wonderfully funny,
wonderfully
himself.
crafted.
So
This is such a well-crafted joke.
it's like, right, see him, you just got to go fucking tackle him.
Multi-layers.
And like, see you in Hot Rod, just go break that window, that crash, that bin. That's all you need to do. It's not about meta and kind of talking about race culture and things like that and riots. It's just like, that's good. No, there's a time and a place for that type of thing.
Yeah.
I think Palm Springs is kind of, it gets the balance right because it's wonderfully silly at times, but also it's like, okay, what would you do if you find yourself in a situation where every day, and there is people, not just on a metaphysical kind of way, you're stuck in a rut, you're doing the same thing, you find yourself completely stuck. It's the beauty of Palm Springs when you first meet his character. He's just sitting in the swimming pool with the full kind of Hawaiian shirt on. He's having a drink and he's just like resigned. It's like, fuck it. There's another day for me. Fuck it. Yeah. And then it's
That's a good show. That's a good show.
I have to say it's one of the few kind of like of those recent kind of like prime originals movies, not so much the TV content or the series that they've done, that I've probably rewatched. I think I've watched Palm Springs maybe 3-4 times. Coming back to the original point I made, just to go full tangent, kind of if Chris Nolan could direct my mind, it would be amazing, and Hans Zimmer would be doing the music. Dum, 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 dum. But anyway, Bill's just looking at me.
Danny Elfman.
Yeah, Bill's just looking at me going, "What the fuck are you doing, Tim?" Alan Silvestri, that's who would do it for me. But
Alan Carr.
Look, Jim McMorrow, if he's listening, I know he does a bit of composing. That's probably all I can get on this budget. But coming back out of the tangents, love Andy Samberg and love this film through Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and that was kind of where I was going with you before I just kind of took over my own show, Bill, and just went off.
I know, I've had a coffee and a toilet break and all while you went off there.
You had a wee snooze.
It was lovely too, nice wee dream. Yeah, I mean, I loved Hot Rod before everybody else. Before everybody else, people would ridicule me in the street, and I presume it was because I loved this film. Being chased down the street with flaming torches and pitchforks. And yes, I put it all down to my love of this film. Not the nudity or the smells. So when Brooklyn Nine-Nine started, I was immediately, I saw the adverts on Channel 4 and all that sort of stuff. So I was immediately a fan of this because I knew Andy Samberg was good. A big fan since Hot Rod. Now, I know I've confessed I hadn't watched that pop star film, but I will. It will be on my list. But to me, Hot Rod is so good, and his performance in that film and everybody else in that film is so good. I don't need to see any of the other work, but I know that Samberg is fantastic anyway because You know, we've all watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think it was 9 seasons or 10 seasons. I mean, that's 9-10 years. I knew he was good, and I knew he was going to be good. And the character of Jake Peralta is him. It's, you know, it's Rod Kimble grown up.
Ish.
Which is great. And
that's like saying at 40 I'm grown up.
That's the thing. I suppose if you want to do a compare and contrast, Sandberg brings his characters to life just by being himself. I imagine that's what he's like in real life. You know, just talking to him with his friends, him with his family. I imagine, you know, he doesn't need to do a voice. He doesn't need to do, you know, doesn't need to exaggerate his body language. That's who he is.
Yeah, it's like the same way The Rock is always going to be The Rock.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get away from that. But Sandberg
I mean, it's like you look at like Dave Bautista. Dave Bautista is similar kind of big, hulky mass of a
dude.
Man, oh man. Sorry, Bella came all flooded there. I was thinking about big Dave Bautista. But you look at what, like, he's an actor.
He's an actor.
Dave
yes.
Bautista.
I mean, he's got comedy. You know,
he can
Guardians
do comedy.
of Galaxy. Guardians of Galaxy. There's some really funny moments in all of Drax's.
Yeah,
you know, and
he's funny. He can do dramedy. He can do funny. He can do funny. He can do drama. He's an actor, and I think he's talked about how.
Although with the Rock, The Rock is as well.
Is he though?
The Rock can do comedy. The Rock can do serious.
But it's always as The Rock. Is guess what I mean?
There's a soft spot in my heart for Welcome to the Jungle. I think it showcases The Rock really well in that he can do a bit of serious, he can do a bit of funny, he can do a bit of action.
Is Welcome to the Jungle one where he walks around with a big plank and just hits people?
No, that is... But again, that's a great show as well.
That's as simple. It's like, right, we've got an idea.
Oh, fuck, what's that film? Walking Tall.
Walking Tall. He's basically...
But Welcome to the Jungle, that's the one with Christopher Walken. You know... Hooah! You talking to me? You talking... So you get it all here. You get it all.
What else would people want? But yeah, I get what you sense, but there's not around. Many an actor has said, right, that's my shtick. That's what I'm good at. Yeah. And then that's what gets bums on seats. So that's what I do. And that's what I'm getting paid to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think what was refreshing for me watching Hot Rod, on the fact that it's got so many proper belly laughs, so many just kind of where it's just being silly and unashamedly silly, and going for it and making me laugh even more, like the aforementioned taco and grilled cheese. My maybe thing is, like, do I buy the relationship between Rod and Denise? I don't know. Did we really need that? But then why not? You know?
Well, yeah, I mean, I do buy it. It's like they're two people roughly the same age, and I think I kind of get the impression that her relationship with her dickhead boyfriend, played by Will Arnett, is, you know...
Well, let me rephrase that. It's like, that's so... I know we're bringing things to a close, and to throw that out there, it's not that I don't buy their relationship. I never really buy her relationship with Will Arnett's character.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's a dick. I mean, and that...
he's a dick.
Will Arnett is
money,
great.
though.
He's fucking great in those kind of roles. I mean, that's between that and Batman, he's perfect. You know, he just knows exactly what to do. Like the scene when they're all out at the kind of restaurant, and he's like, he tells something. There's something like he says, and it's like, so why did you want to be? It's like, why did you want to be a stuntman or something? It's like, oh, it's not really that long. So it's that good. I really didn't care anyway.
I didn't care. It was just breaking the ice. You know,
he's perfect in that. And then I also, just on that note, because we haven't talked about Will Arnett enough, and even just with Denise, just that scene where she breaks up and she's just running down the road.
Running down the street, and he's like, no, babe, wait. But it's those,
and then it's the slow,
that's the beauty of this film. It's like the comedy stuff, and we do it in The Sixth Sense as well, to a certain degree.
So if you're listening, Andy,
if you're listening, we stole
Sixth Sense is available
it's
for
the
heart.
Elongation of the comedy.
Yeah.
Where, like, something's funny, but you keep it going to the point where it's not funny, but then you keep it going again to the point where it's funny again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that whole him shouting at her.
Babe.
And it's the whole babe, wait. And then it's like, babe, no.
What I love.
And then the last one is, Wah! And it cuts. It just cuts because you know he's just going to be crying.
Do you know what I love? It's like she's running and then she's got the arms waving and then it's like it's almost like she's going to run to the jump, but then she's like, oh no, fuck that. So either she gets a taxi or someone just picks her up in the car and he's still like, babe.
He's still shouting. It's brilliant. And then it's the moment where their first kiss. It's fucking hilarious to me as well. It's like they go in slow-mo in the kiss and she's just really big, open mouth. And he just looks at it in fear. And it's like she's trying to eat him.
Yeah, so I think to go back, I buy their relationship. I don't buy the relationship she has with Will Arnett. And I know you're kind of saying he's a dick with money and all that kind of stuff. But I'm criticizing it. But also it's the fact that you bring Will Arnett in for that role. That's a gift for him to play. Oh, perfect for him.
I hate the typecast the guy, but he's brilliant at playing douchebags. Like
he is.
He plays him really, really well. And again, that Arrested Development experience as well. He's just really good at playing dickheads.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate to say, but as you say, he plays Batman as well.
Yeah, he's Batman, the ultimate orphan.
And one of the things we haven't really covered is the music in the film.
Yeah.
I think the music in the film it's really good choices in that it's a lot of 1980s Europe. Of all bands, it's Europe, but we never get the final countdown.
Mm-hmm.
We get everything else off the album, but the final countdown.
You've got to wonder if that's kind of down to...
Probably down to rights and all that sort of
and
stuff.
how much they would have been charged. Because I remember I spoke to a couple of filmmakers and it's like, well, we've always had this idea for this song. And then luckily we've been able to get the rights and get it cleared with people involved for X amount of money, but sometimes people come and say, right, you want this song in? It's like, that's what we have.
That's the money.
So we'll go, right, we'll have this backup track.
We'll play their B-sides.
The
and it's
album
brilliant,
is
like
great.
Cherokee and loads of other fucking beautiful bits of music. But the one thing, and I think a lot of people miss it, unless you're big fans, it's the band that plays at the jump.
Queens of Stone Age.
It's Queens of the Stone Age.
What's the song they sing?
Head Honcho. But it's them in full.
Yeah.
It's
Glam rock.
Gown is the name of the band that they're playing, and it's full glam rock and over cheese. Head Honcho, high pitched voice from Josh Homme. It's amazing. Him with the afro that he wears as well. I mean, it's pure comedy gold, and you need to sort of shake yourself. And this is Queens of the Stone Age, probably just after they hit the big time, because obviously the bassist, he got sacked from the band for drug use anyway, so he's not part of that crew. But it's like they're just hitting the big time, or they had just hit the big time, and they're in this film. It's fun. Oh.
It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, the film it's good, wholesome comedy. Nobody's getting belittled, nobody's getting slagged. There's no sort of, it's not like,
Although we do have a mother who's lied to her son.
Well, lied to her son, but it's not in a bad way.
It's not in that same kind of way, because I know you draw on the last time you were quite critical of Kathy Bates' character in The Waterboy.
It's an abusive relationship.
It's a very similar lie that she says.
It's a similar lie, but she's not controlling the son's life.
Mm-hmm.
The difference here is, and I suppose it's one of the things that, you could definitely argue that the relationship between stepdad and Rod is an abusive relationship. Yes, it is. I don't know why it's different though, but it is. The mother, she could be, and again, it's one of the turning points in the film. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it, where she comes clean. She's allowed him to live his life.
I love the way we're spoiling everything else, but we won't spoil that.
Yeah.
Some mysteries in life must remain.
She's allowed her son to believe the untruths about the dad and how he died.
And it's all based around a photograph.
It's all based around a photograph
with Evel Knievel.
With Evel Knievel, yeah. And that's why he wants to be a stuntman he's not going to get the respect of his dad, so he wants the respect of his stepdad, and he's not going to get it because the stepdad knows that this guy isn't a stuntman, and he needs to the stepdad, I suppose, in his way, is trying to get the son to grow up, because the whole backstory is that the stepdad has a heart problem, and has known about it for a while. You know, it's like 18 years. They've said, you know, the mother says it's a problem he's had for 18 years, but now he needs a transplant or he's going to die. So he's, in his own ways, been trying to raise the eldest son to take over the family.
Yeah.
And it's digressed the fighting, which is the fights in themselves. Yes, it's abusive, absolutely abusive.
Do you know what the fights remind me of? The fights remind me to an extent of like the Pink Panther between Peter Sellers, Inspector Clouseau, and Kato. That sense of the constant fights, and then there's the ninja star.
It's towards the end. It's the throwing star. It's like, what the fuck?
And let's not forget the important bit of the Tai Chi. The move.
the super punch.
The move that can make you crap yourself. And do you know what I love? Coming back to The Waterboy, there's no redemption, kind of big redemptive moment. It's like they have this fight. There's a certain sense of like, what has he said? I'm the man. Is that what he wants him to say?
Tell me I'm a man now.
Tell me I'm a man. And it's like he says it under duress. Then
he says it under duress, but then he does go to shake the hand and say, yeah, you're a man now. And then he does the Tai Chi to make him shit his pants.
And I love the fact that the film just cuts. It just cuts across. You know what? It's like, if this was now, people were getting annoyed. It would be like The Sopranos. Did Ian McShane, did he shit himself? Did he not shit himself?
No, he shit himself.
It's like, he shit himself. We all know that he's going to shit himself. But it's that sense, like, you don't have it's not a false kind of like, oh, you're great kind of thing. We fought for so many years. Because that would be, it's too sugary sweet. And that's what I like in that sense, that yes, got a film that's got its heart with its right place, but it doesn't try to do, you know, heart in the right place, but with sugar on top and sprinkles and extra dollops ice cream. It knows what it does, and it doesn't feel the need to have this great moment. Instead, it's quite happily, the redemptive moment is Ian McShane's character shits his pants.
He gets his balls rolled, and he shits his pants. I mean, that fight at the end is, you know, it's brutal. Absolutely brutal right from the start. I mean, it's like stick to the face for our Rod, and then he gets a throwing star in the chest.
Do you know what I just love? And we haven't mentioned it really. I know we've mentioned Ian McShane, but just the smile. Ian McShane looks like he's having a ball.
Oh, he's having a ball.
It's just the glee and delight that he has in his face during these fights. Because like the sticks, the first time it's like, we're fighting with sticks now.
Rhodesian fighting sticks. And he's like, oh yeah, Rhodesian, yeah, he knows what. Yeah, it's fucking mental.
It's a lot of fun. So look, I think we shall bring this pod to a close. Now, I know the last time we had you on, we got you picking the next comedy film. You might want to put you on the spot, Bill. And you might want to pick something now, because it might be yourself. It might be another one of your Sixth Sense colleagues that'll be on in the future. I don't know if you want to force them to watch something, or if you're going to leave it for them to pick the next comedy film. But what would you like to do, Bill?
I don't know. I think I would like them to have the freedom. Now, saying that, if it was up to me and I wanted them to review a comedy film,
I'm giving you this opportunity, so it is technically,
right,
it is up to you.
Okay, Once Upon a Time in the West. Or not Once Upon a Time, Million Ways to Die in the West.
Okay.
Million Ways to Die in the West.
Okay.
There you go.
I was worried there for a second when you went the first one. Was like, oh, comedy.
I could have picked something really bad, like Jack and Jill or something.
Listeners, maybe he has picked something really bad. We'll have to wait and see.
I wouldn't say it's one of my favourites, but I do put it on every so often for a chuckle.
Okay, so that'll be the next one. It might be yourself back on. It may be one of your colleagues. We'll have to wait and see. But that's all from us. So look, once again, Bill, all that's left for me to do is thank yourself for taking part and being.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for allowing me to ramble about one of my favourite films.
And thankfully we didn't get all deep and meaningful this time.
No, I don't think we did. I think it's a good, wholesome comedy film, and we'll leave it
right
at
the kind of level for Banterflix. Yeah. Right at that level, all surface and no depth. But yes, but no, I had absolute ball, and I'm very. If you can't make out already, throughout this pod, I've talked a lot with my hands throughout this recording, because, you know, it's an audio medium. You know, what other way to communicate other than with my hands? I'm rambling, so look, I'm going to bring things to a close. Thank you very much, Bill. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with another podcast, but for now, until then, goodbye.